Hi, you guys. It's Katerina. It's been it's been a little bit since I've connected you last, and I am using a new microphone. I'm testing it out so I don't have to wear the headphones while I'm FaceTiming from my laptop. If you guys logging in from, hi, you guys. If you're logging in, would you let me know if you can hear me? Okay, because I'm using a new microphone. It's like a stationary microphone. I'm upgrading my setup, you know what I mean? So let me know in the comments that you can hear me and that the volume is great. So I know. One of those live streams when I feel a lot of energy running through me. Let's see. You hear me well. Thank you, Miriam. I really appreciate that. I really do. How are you guys? How are you? Well, this topic is dear to my heart, you know, leadership. And my soul chose leadership path even before I incarnated. Just like your soul chose your path before you incarnate into the body. So for me, it's all about leadership. And you know how I understand leadership deeper and deeper with every year I'm on this path. That leadership is just all about reminding people what is most important. Leadership is reminding people what is most important in their lives, right? And when I talk about you don't have to be perfect to lead, I have a funny story to share with you, of course. Because every time I share you guys these insights, they come directly from experience, directly from something that I just lived through 2 or 3 days ago. And I had epiphany, I had an insight. And, you know, that's how we grow in wisdom, right? By sharing our insights generously with each other. That's how we grow in wisdom as a collective and expand, right? So when it comes to leadership, you guys, I really believe it is, while people are still joining, like I said before, leadership is reminding people what's important, right? And also leadership is, for me, is all about these 3 things: mastery, service, and devotion. Mastery, service, and devotion. And all 3 of these, you guys, there is no room for perfection when you truly, truly commit yourself to develop mastery. Mastery, by definition, is imperfect. Mastery requires you to be awkward, to be imperfect, to make a lot of mistakes, to get your feet dirty, to get your hands dirty, to get in the mud, right? And through experience, you craft your reality. It's imperfect by definition. So the first one, hold that concept with me, and I'm going to go deeper. I'll give you specific examples that I found it to be really, really powerful. But the first one is mastery, right? Second one is service. True mastership is service. You know, when I think about archangels and ascended masters, and if you're around me, that topic is going to come up. It's just a matter of time, right? You know, in esoteric traditions, some people believe that Earth is a school, that we came here as souls to really learn our lessons, to master a specific life theme, specific emotional theme, right? To untangle our attachments, to transmute karma, out of many, many reasons why we come on this earth. But let's just accept this concept for a second. If the earth is a school, then the other dimensions, when we leave the body, and let's say we decide not to incarnate in the body again, we decide to accept a different role for evolution of our higher self, and we, let's say we become, you know, angels, we become ascended masters, right? The highest position for them is service. So true mastership, right, is always rooted in deep service, right? And deep service comes with humility, with humbleness, not with false modesty, you know, that I'm going to address that as well, but really deep humbleness where, you know, the more you know, the more you don't know, right? And you're at peace with that. But let's say we have mastery, we have service, we have devotion, right? And devotion, when I think about devotion, you guys, I think about mystics, right? Like Rumi and Hafiz and all these incredible Sufis who have that beautiful communion with the divine that they see in every person they meet, in every animal, in every tree. Devotion. Devotion and leadership, where you see every person that shows up on your path as, you know, as God showed up on your path. And then how you interact with God. How do you interact with God? A lot of times what saddens my heart when I see so many incredible people who have great leadership potential, and they hold themselves back because they don't feel perfect enough to be in the spotlight, to be on the video, to offer a program, to lead an event, to do their dharma, to be lived by their dharma. Guys, it happens, you know, I often hear that. One time there was a person who reached out to me and he said, this person said, Katerina, I would love to work with you, but I would love to drop 30 pounds before I feel ready to work with you. Or something like that. Or I would like to join your program. I think I was offering online program, but I would like to lose weight before I join your program. And so think about this, you guys. This is perfectionism speaking, right? That you don't feel ready to be seen just as you are right now. That you feel you need to do something in order to feel ready to step into a container for your transformation. So my strategy when I see that is to surprise people with how much I'm willing to show my imperfection in my leadership. Because you guys have learned this lesson, you know, right now, yeah, you see me dressed up. I glamored up a little bit for you. But most of the time I wear yoga clothes and I freaking love it. You know, and I freaking love it. I make my own rules how I want to run my business. And if I look like this or if I'm in the yoga clothes, it doesn't define me, how I choose to express myself, right? It doesn't define me. So I've learned this lesson, you guys, that perfection separates people. People cannot relate to perfection. It's not real. It's not real. So a couple days ago, you guys, I had a client come fly for VIP day, and it was a kind of a last minute planning, and so I had to move a lot of things around to free up that day in order to focus on one person, and that meant some of my priorities got shifted around, right? So, and I, of course, you know, I live close to the beach where, you know, people walk barefoot and stuff like that. And I'm looking at my toes, and my toes are lacking proper care, to be honest with you, right? At that moment of time, last week. So it was a comedy show. So my toes were not done. My hands were not, you know, done. Right now, they're all beautiful and colorful. But the critical moment when I was showing up to meet my client, none of those were done. I didn't feel incredibly groomed. And my service and my dharma asked me to show up even in spite of that. And what was so beautiful, I had this beautiful moment with my client because the first thing that she did when she flew in, she went to a nail place to get her nails done and her toes done. And she was like, Katerina, I'm going to be late because I'm doing my nails. So imagine that situation. And so I meet her next morning and I said, beautiful nails, beautiful toes. I'm glad at least one of us got that done this weekend. And we started laughing because I just showed her mine. You know, I was like, look at my hands, look at my toes. And it was such a beautiful bonding moment, you guys, because I could just see her body relax in my presence. Like she saw me like, oh, you're human. And I was like, yes, that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it. So you don't have to freaking wait until you lose those 30 pounds, until you're, you know, glorious enough, until you have the best equipment, until you have all your ducks in a row to show up and contribute in an authentic way, like only you can. Only you can. So please don't wait until you're perfect to lead, because you'll be waiting really, really long time. And when you reach that imaginary stage of perfection, you'll realize people won't be able to relate to you. People can relate to you, you cannot serve them. You cannot influence, you cannot build a connection with them, right? Leadership without connection, we don't have anything there. We have force. We have dictatorship, right? So true leadership is based on connection, authentic, human to human connection, or God to God connection, human recognizing the God in another person and connecting through that essence. So my darlings, a lot of times I intentionally breathe through my imperfect moments, and I'm willing to share them with others because I know the power of liberation, where you realize perfection separates you from others. And perfection doesn't exist. It's an image that we build up, you know, that gives this illusion of protection from criticism from others. What if you just shed that? You decide to shed. And when you're with another human being, you just allow yourself to connect through that real, authentic you. So, leadership is reminding people what's important. And I'm demonstrating to you right now how I see it can be really powerful to remind each other what's important. And especially now, you know, you guys, especially now, especially in the online digital world, where it's so easy to build a house of cards, to build a facade. And if some people don't have a strong discernment, you know, you may find yourself following somebody else's light instead of finding your own light. There's a big difference between following somebody's light and being inspired by somebody's light to find your own light. Huge difference. Huge difference, you guys, right? So in the digital world and the online world, I love this world. I thrive in it. It gave me so much opportunity to reach so many people that I would never be able to reach just in my town. So it's a beautiful grace in action. And at the same time, there's also can be a shadow aspect. It's called the house of cards, the image, the facade, the perfection, the illusion, right? And it's on you and I to develop very sharp discernment. It's our responsibility, ability to respond with clarity and wisdom and discernment, and to see who I'm being drawn to, who is helping me to trust my own light. You guys, this is my criteria, how I call on my teachers, my peers, people that I serve, right? I look at their light and I look at their teachings and I say, do they want me to follow their light, or do they always remind me to follow my light and to discover that and to know myself? Huge, huge difference, you guys. Huge difference. So you don't have to be perfect to wait to lead. It's a setup. The same thing, you don't have to be perfect to wait whatever else you want. Maybe you don't want to lead. Maybe, you know, it will evolve for you soon. You know, maybe you just want to have a deeper fulfillment in life. But I'm going to tell you, you guys, honestly, achievement without higher purpose is freaking empty. It's so empty. I think one of the reasons our country is so over-medicated and so numbed out, and we have such a high rates of depression, all kinds, it's because people are not living their higher purpose. And it's existential suffering for the soul, because it's only a matter of time when your soul begins to scream, I can't be silenced anymore. I cannot be silenced anymore. Your soul wants to be out. Your soul begins to awaken. You can't stop that process. And when you're done with your healing of your wounds, healing of the past, healing of all these things that are needed to be addressed and healed, there is a moment, there is this something unlocks in you where you say, it's enough to be obsessed about me, and let me shift my focus towards others. And for some of you, it can happen even earlier. For some of you, shifting your focus toward others was exactly what pulled you out of darkness, out of the depression, out of addiction. Isn't it so? You tell me. It happened for me, you guys, when some of the most miserable years of my life, when I was incredibly self-obsessed. And it was a protection mechanism, and it was, of course, survival mechanism and rebellion mechanism and finding myself mechanism and all of that. But there comes a point where you stop focusing on the wounds so much. And you start focusing on freedom. And you start focusing on contributing, right? And giving back. And it's so powerful, because the deepest healing happens when you begin to serve. You begin to give back. You begin to believe in your power of your gifts so much that you're willing to share them, even when you feel imperfect, even when you feel not ready. It's not about you anymore. It's about your gifts that you're here to bring. It's not about you anymore. It's about the gifts that you're here to share. You'll always feel imperfect. You can count on that. Guys, you can count on that. There is these different areas of insecurities that I'm still working through. And some of you looking at me like, Katerina, what? I don't believe you have any insecurities. Oh, goodness. We all do. But it's a matter of, do you take these insecurities and these worries seriously? Do they run you? Or do you see it like an annoying little dog that's biting you or barking at you? You just acknowledge the dog. You say, here you are. One of those small, little, whiny, barky ones? That voice comes out, and you begin to identify the voices in your head. So, my darlings, for those of you who joined late, I'm just going to recap the key points. I was sharing that from my perspective, leadership is all about reminding people what's truly important. And I had a message today, right now it's 333, Ascended Master Blessing for all of us. And I was really just guided to share that you don't have to be perfect to lead. In fact, if you are so perfect, people won't be able to relate to you. People won't be able to relate to you. And the ultimate goal of leadership is true, authentic connection with others. And the way to reach somebody's soul, you got to connect to them. You got to see them. Right? But if you're not willing to show your imperfections, like I did with my nails and toes episode, you guys, it was uncomfortable, of course. But I just turned it into humor, and I said, I'm so glad you get to see my human side so soon. Nice to meet you. This is my human side. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. I'm looking at your comments right now, you guys. I'm going to take a sip of water and we'll continue. Darlings, it's the same thing when I launch my programs. Every program I launch, my deep devotion is to make it better every time. Visually better, right? Audio better, content better, structure better, bonuses better. Every time I raise the game, I raise the level. But if I show you my very first programs, oh my God, they look like a high school project. You know what I mean? My my presentations were not designed professionally before my first few years. They were very simply made, and they were powerful and impactful because of the energy that I would bring. And I wouldn't focus on perfection, I would focus on service. Spirit asking me, are you available to serve? Yes, I am. Boom. When? Right now. How? You will know. Just like that. And then, you know, your commitment towards excellence, your commitments to making things better is where you find your devotion. You know, it's my commitment to the people that I serve every time they're in whatever way I serve them, live event, digital program, one-on-one, my commitment that I will continue to raise the bar, how I show up for them, what I ask of them, what environments, what magical moments I create with them. Because to me, you guys, I have such a high need for creativity, high need for variety. I would be really, really bored to do the same thing all the time. So I make it fun. But during the process of that refinement, I'm okay with some things being a little clunky. That's okay. That's okay. So what are you taking away from this, you guys? Perfectionism is a very safe place to hide. Because a lot on the line, right? Your pride, your reputation. What else is on the line? What else that perfectionist voice is trying to convince you? What is on the line for you? Why are you waiting to release that dream project that you were working on in your heart or in your home? What are you waiting for? Whose permission? Why are you still not sold on you? And maybe you don't resonate with these questions. Maybe I'm asking myself, and that's okay too. But I think it's very honest and very powerful to inquire what is truly holding us back. And I stand for entrepreneurship really deeply, you guys, because I believe entrepreneurship is a key part of developing true sovereignty, where you begin to create your own economy. And it's available to all of us. It doesn't mean that we're going to get to that point of sovereignty at the same time, because we come from different backgrounds. We have a different way of processing information, you know, different way of expressing our gifts, different gifts. But this is not a race. You're not racing with anybody. It's your journey. As a sovereign soul, you're remembering your sovereignty and you're making your steps. So entrepreneurship for me is leadership. It's the most incredible self-expression. But it doesn't have to be your path. Even if you have 9 to 5, even if you never want to be an entrepreneur, you have 9 to 5, you're happy with it, or you are raising children and this is your dharma, and I bow down to you because that's not my dharma. But I have deep respect for parents who are raising avatars, who are raising new masters. Still, there are some of these beautiful soul gifts that you came here to develop, first identify, then develop, and then express boldly, unapologetically, imperfectly on purpose. And in that regard, you guys, we're all equal. We're all equal in terms we all have this. Richard Rudd, the author of Gene Keys, he calls it incandescence. Incandescence, the spark of genius that is in every human being, you guys. It doesn't matter if you are from Russia, like me, Soviet Russia, if you are from Ecuador, you are from India, you are from Spain, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter how little you have. I came to this country, you guys, with $3 to my name and a few crackers to eat. I didn't know when my next meal would be. This was my beginning in this country. So I can tell you it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter how humble was your beginning. What matters is you're living in the most powerful time where all this beautiful information available to you. You can Google pretty much anything, right? And you can start where you are and make your steps, as long as you don't compare yourself to other people and you don't believe that it's a race. If you believe it's a race, that perfectionism really gonna get a grip on you. But if you say it's a journey, and everything that I'm gonna bring to the world is gonna require all my courage. It's gonna require all my risk. It's gonna require all my strength to bring my gift into the world. When you do it first time, you guys, it feels like you're taking your newborn baby out in the street to the wolves. When you introduce your first creation to the world, it feels like that. How many of you can agree? It's so real and it's so raw and it's so visceral. So I understand the vulnerability of creativity. I understand. And on the other side, the joy of seeing another human being benefit from your creations, benefit from your service, benefit from your gift. No amount of stimulation, pleasure, money, travel can ever compare with the fulfillment that you will feel seeing your genius, seeing your magic touch others. So it's all worth it, you guys. It's all worth it. And then eventually, you learn to develop your skills, you learn to develop your leadership, you learn to develop your business acumen, you learn to develop all these things that you turn your gift into what would be the best way to say it? But you guys know what I'm going with it. You develop yourself to the point that your gifts begin to support you. And that's what I desire for all of you guys. And once again, as long as you remind yourself it's not a race. For some people, it takes 5 years to get started. For some people, 5 months. So it's all your process, all your journey, but I would rather take a long journey than spend all my life and die with this guilt that I've had all these talents, all these gifts, all this opportunity, and I chose to give in to my fear instead of trust my soul to lead the way. I never thought it was going to be so serious, this live stream. You guys, I never know where we're going to go. Every video I set an intention, I write a few things, that I want to go, but it's always a mystery for me. Where are we going to go? But you guys, I think it's really powerful to ask yourself these questions to know your why. When I started my journey, entrepreneurship, it was that honesty. I looked at myself and I was, I believe I was 32 at that time. So it was 5 years ago. And I was making more money than I ever thought would be possible as an immigrant with $3 to my name who entered this country. But I felt so empty and so disconnected from my higher purpose that no amount of glamour and no amount of comfort and no amount of pleasure could silence that pain. And I look at myself in the eyes one of those days and I said, Katerina, you better go and follow your heart and risk everything. And I asked myself, if I risk everything and I epically fail, am I willing to agree that I can recover from this? And I'm willing to rebuild my life even if I epically fail. And I look at myself and I said, okay, I'll give myself 5 years. And if I epically fail, I know how to rebuild. I've rebuilt my life almost a decade of times in my life, you guys. A master rebuilder. You know what I mean? But you just, whenever you need to rebuild your life, you really, really learn what you're made of. And if you have to do it a few times, you really get to know what you're made of. So I had this conversation with myself. I say, okay, yes, I can recover, I can rebuild. And I also gave myself a promise that I'd rather go and risk everything than spend my best, most vibrant, and most energetic years of my life, the years that by design are given to me for building my dream. And if I waste these years in drifting and numbing, in self-obsession, right, in empty ambition, how will I be able to look myself in the eye when I'm 70, when I'm 80, knowing all the gifts, all the skills, all the talents that I've been given, and I wasted it? What a slap to the face of God, which is you and me. So, darlings, it's interesting to have this conversation with ourselves, because I believe honesty liberates us, right? Honesty helps us not to drift. And I am so appreciating all these hearts. You guys are so beautiful. Thank you for all these beautiful hearts. I see them, and I'm gonna read every comment after I finish the live stream, but I'm just gonna let the transmission go and flow. And when I choose my teacher, first I call them in, and how do I recognize them? How do I recognize my teachers, you guys? By how comfortable they are with their humanity. How imperfect they are on purpose. When they make a mistake, what is their response? What is their way of correction? What is their way of being? Super, super important, you guys. Super important. That's how you can develop discernment. And also another way how you can, I often talk to you about activations and codes and all of that. There is a reason why, you guys. I keep talking about it because on metaphysical level, right, we are made of three things: energy, information, and light. Energy, information, and light. So when we interact with somebody, we literally merge our auras, and we merge information that is in both of our auras. We merge light, we merge energy. So we literally exchange codes. When I say how we activate codes, how we exchange codes, is because the codes is another way to say for information, for coded information, for specific instructions in your DNA that can be activated, that can be triggered into activation, catalyzed in activation. That's why when you will sometimes spend time with somebody, it can only be an hour that changes your life. Why do you think it happens? Because you receive the transfer of energy and transfer of information, the transfer of light. So if you desire to accelerate your evolution, to accelerate your remembrance, choose wisely who you spend time in person with. Nothing can slow down your manifestation than being around people who constantly put your visions down, energetically, emotionally, psychologically. I always tell my clients to be very protective around their visions. What I mean by that, you guys, when your vision, when your biggest dream is still at the very beginning stages, you literally imagine this image of a pregnant woman, because this metaphor is gonna land on you. And you on the second or third month of pregnancy, would you run around and tell about your vision to every fool in town? You probably wouldn't. You would be nurturing and protecting it. The same thing with your spiritual vision, the same thing with the vision for your new company, vision for your new path, vision for your new chapter. I always encourage you to only share it with people who deserve the right to hear about it, who's going to be supportive, who's going to encourage you, you know, in that very fragile state of conceiving a new life, a new possibility, a new way of being. And spend time with people who embody what you desire to have in your life. Because simply being in their aura can activate spontaneously these new levels of awareness, new level of insight for you. That's why, you guys, no matter how many online trainings I do and I take, I equalize it, equally balance it with me going and spending time physically with my teachers. You know, I'm a big fan of immersions. I love them. I love them. Why? Because you can compress months in one day. And it's a spiritual experience, you know, it gets activated on the soul level. But be around people, you know, who really embody what you desire to have. And it's very easy to say, it's very easy to see who embodies it or not. It's a level of congruency, level of how people speak from, you know how the wisdom is, when the wisdom speaks, it's a very different frequency than just intellectual knowledge speaks. Wisdom is earned through experience, through every ring of fire, through every trial. Look at your comments. Hi, you guys. So I don't know how long I went. It is my true desire for you and for all of us together to really awaken that mastery from within this year, because on the cosmic level, you guys, everything is in our favor. This is the year of self-mastery. This is the year to awaken the teacher within. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful that we have all incredible tools to do that. And one of the tools that I use daily, you guys, is an understanding of my unique design, of my unique energetic blueprint. And it first began when human design came into my life. And I had, for the very first time, I felt deeply understood. You know, I realized why doing things like everybody told me to do were not effective for me, because it was not aligned with my energetic blueprint, with all these subtle bodies that we have, right? It's really, really powerful. So trust to whatever you're being called. For me, human design take a central stage in my life because it helped me to understand how do I make decisions that in alignment with my higher self. I'll give you a very simple example. I used to pride myself on being a very decisive person in the moment and make very fast decisions. But actually it goes against my energetic design. I can get excited really fast in the moment, but then literally an hour later, I'm going to have a completely different emotional feeling around this decision. So a lot of times I would say yes, I would commit to something, and then an hour later I would regret it. I was like, what I got myself into? I wish I just sit with this decision a little bit more. I wish I could just feel it from every point of awareness. And human design confirmed that I have what it's called emotional authority. And my way of making decisions is to ride the wave, to ride the emotional wave, and to arrive to a place of clarity. And clarity takes time. So imagine, you guys, imagine bringing that awareness to a business world where you're constantly being told you got to be a fast decision maker. You got to make decisions on this call, especially, if you train sales. I train high ticket sales is one of my programs that I do on the business level. And I had to completely take a different approach and encourage people to get to know their energetic design and work with what they have in alignment, instead of just say, learn how to close and force people into decision on this first call. I don't do it, you guys. I actually discourage most of my, especially high-level clients, I discourage them from making a decision on the first call with me. I ask them to go and be with this decision and really take it in and really tune into their higher self, because this is going to be a pivotal moment in their lives. And I really want them to take that decision deeply, not on the high of this, emotional wave about a possibility of new life, but really sit with it, sit with it, sit with it. Then your decision is yours. And nobody can waver you from that decision because you've made it. Very powerful stuff, you guys. But human design brought me that. And when the Gene Keys came into my life, I know I talk a lot about the Gene Keys, you guys, because it's almost like it's such a revolutionary teachings. They're ahead of our time. And when I found Gene Keys, it was like oasis for my parched soul. Every page that I read is like a nectar for my soul. It's so incredible. It stretches all your thinking about the world, about us humans as species, about how we communicate, how we build sacred business practices, how we choose our mates, or do we even have a choice? Or our bodies choose our mates for us and our mind hates it? All of these incredible questions, incredible conversations are all there in the wisdom teachings of our time. So what I love about the Gene Keys, you guys, it's more soulful from my perspective. Human design is very mechanical. It's like you're given a manual about your Ferrari body or Bentley body, whatever your favorite. What's your favorite car? I was like that. It's like, imagine you got a car, but you never got a manual. So you have all these extra features, and it's like incredible, top of the line, legendary car, maybe one in the world. Imagine somebody just dropped it off at your house. Nobody told you all these features, how to take care of it. So you're using 10% of the potential of the car. And imagine somebody knocks on your door one day, say, hey, forgot the manual. Here's the manual. So I see the human design as like a manual that helps you understand energetics of the body. Because the very first thing that people experience is your energy. It's not how you look, how you talk, how much you weigh. It's your energy, you guys. You know that, right? So why do we focus on everything else but the energy? Why is that last? Now I'm just curious, because that's the first thing. Like, for me, my intuition is so psychic. I can just feel, this connection is really, really good for me, or stay away completely. It's so clear because I took the time to refine the discernment frequency, that discernment channel, right, you guys? So one of the reasons I love the Gene Keys and I connect with it so much, and I see so many people who are already in the class that I'll be teaching next week with Marci. You guys, this week or next week. I'm always timeless awareness. But you guys, the whole point why I love the Gene Keys is because it's so much more multidimensional, and it's practical. It's deeply spiritual and opening, but it's so practical. So practical. Finally you have this beautiful process. It will require your commitment. It's not something that this is the reasons why I don't do readings, because to me it's almost like, it's not the honoring of the teachings. You know what I mean? It's not something you can get a reading and really get it. It's something that you commit to and you begin to walk with these teachings, right? And I was just enchanted by the depth and the precision, and in all these incredible pathways, how to unlock the new level of information in my own DNA. in my own DNA. So the sky is no limit for all of us. The sky is no limit. Nothing is a limit unless we choose to believe it is. So darlings, this is, yeah, Lisa says, I'm so grateful to journey. Yeah, it's this week, Lisa, thank you. And you guys, I just wanted to briefly share for those of you who maybe first time you hear me talk about the Gene Keys, but it's a leading wisdom teachings of our time, that it's really a synthesis of all wisdom traditions. It's based on I Ching, the book of changes, right? The Chinese, the oldest book that is available for humanity, the book of changes. And I Ching, how I describe it, is basically a manual how to live in harmony with the external world, how to live in harmony with everything that surrounds you. And what do we need more right now? In the time of turbulence, we need harmony. Harmony. So how we create a harmonious world? By one inner world at a time. When you bring the inner world into harmony, by the law of magnetism, attraction, right? External world begins to even out because you make different choices. You make you choose different interactions, right? You become more aware. It's super, super powerful. So you guys, this week, this Wednesday, I am teaching a course for the next 4 months. So this is the next, where my attention will go for the next 4 months. And it's a beautiful, beautiful container I created with Marci Locke, my divine sister Marci. And what I love about creation with her is I've yet to meet a more authentic human divine being that really just owns her truth and embodies what she talks and leads from integrity. And it is incredible privilege and fun to create with somebody like that. So we bring different gifts, you know, like my gift is simplicity. I can take a very complex metaphysical teaching or, you know, dense information, and I can extract the essence and present it in a very interactive, entertaining, and fun way, right? And her gift is really imprinting and integration, how to make it, how to take this beautiful, massive breakthrough and put it into your life and get rooted into your life. So it's just something unique, you guys. It's the first time we co-create together, and I'm just really, really thrilled about the energy that is building, the environment. Right now we have 52 people. It's a good size group. It's a good size group, meaning it's not terribly huge that your voice will not be heard and your comments will not be answered. I pride myself in really creating interaction with people in the group because there's so much magic. I feel every person who is drawn to this work has an incredible, incredible wisdom to share with the world. And the more people will receive these teachings, the more people can take it to their communities and to their teams and to their families, and we transform the world like that. So you guys, it starts this Wednesday, and I will post the link after this live stream. Check it out, see if it calls you. We're probably still gonna accept people for the first 2 weeks, you know, but we will close down the enrollment very, very soon, because, you know, you don't want to just like drag the energy. You want to start together and move together through experience. But it's a 4 months journey, very interactive, where you receive support, guidance, teachings, and also incredible, thriving learning environment. So if you like interactive learning, this is a good group to be, and join us if it calls you. But no matter what you choose to do, my main message for this video is that you begin to laugh at perfectionism, and you begin to adore your human side, and you begin to be okay with those human moments. You know, when you are not in your best light and you still choose to show up, because you know where your best light is. It's right here. It's right here. And the more you make this light strong, the more everything else will be illuminated by the power of your soul. And remember, leadership is reminding people what's really important. So whatever you took away from this live stream, I have no idea how long I talked. I invite you to take a nugget. This is how you can really ground it, you guys. So it's not just intellectual stimulation. You take one nugget and you go share it with others. You feel free to share this live stream if you know it can serve and uplift somebody. You never know how deeply we touch others by being generous with each other. But more than anything, you guys, share your imperfect creations. Surprise us with your creativity. Even when you don't feel it's ready or perfect or rough around the edges, that's exactly how we like it. Because that shows your true spirit and your true soul. That's all I have for you guys. I'm gonna go watch the sunset. And once again, if the Gene Key course calls you, I will put a link. And for those of my students who are already in it, you guys, I'm really, 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 really happy to be on the journey with you. We get to play for 4 months. That's amazing, right? All right, I love you guys. Many kisses, and look at my pretty nails. They're done. They're done. And my toes too. But you know what? When they were not done, they were cute too. Adorable in the humanness. Thank you guys for spending this time with me in a deep service and mastery, devotion, and service. Together we rise higher.